Welcome back to Luxionado, the ultimate channel for luxury aficionados. New money versus old money is a topic that may have come up in discussion, although maybe in a hushed tone, at some point. The terms old money and new money are used to describe different classes of very high socioeconomic status. The means by which one became wealthy distinguishes old money from new money. Building wealth is a complex process, and with this in mind, we've decided to answer an old question that you may have asked yourself before. What's the difference between old money and new money? So firstly, what's old money? Many of us have heard the phrase old money, but might not have known what it meant. Old money is a term used to describe individuals who have inherited large amounts of wealth from their family and have been prosperous for many generations. Or simply put, old money is money and assets passed down through families over multiple generations. The term is also applied to families and individual members of a lineage. Most social scientists agree that wealth cannot be deemed old money unless it has been maintained for more than 3 generations. In other words, it takes at least 3 generations for new money to reach the same social status as old money. Now, what's the new money? As you can easily guess by now, new money is money that was made recently. The new money consists of professional athletes, social media influencers, musicians, actors, self-made entrepreneurs, and other rich people who didn't get their money from their families. Instead, their wealth has been earned through their own blood, sweat, and tears. The French phrase nouveau riche, which translates to newly rich, is sometimes used. This often applies to people who have just become rich and display their riches in a flamboyant, excessive way. People with new money are often called new money, just like those with old money. For example, billionaires Oprah Winfrey, John Paul DeJoria, and Ralph Lauren were raised poor but created fortunes for themselves. They epitomize the term new money. So, what's the difference between new and old money? There are many differences between old money and new money, but most of them have to do with how people see them, how wealth is shared, and how money is spent. The source of money makes a significant difference. As mentioned before, old money is money that has been passed down through generations. If an individual is born into an old money family, they would usually feel a strong obligation to protect and grow the family's wealth. Members of the new rich are self-made millionaires and billionaires. They have earned their wealth by building a successful business, becoming a famous actor, playing in the top sports leagues as a professional athlete, or even making money as an influencer on social media. Some new money members may even have won the lottery or won a big lawsuit that gave them a large sum of money. Status in society also makes a huge difference. In the United States, many old money wealthy families are related to early industrialists and monopolists, who were sometimes called robber barons for their questionable and unethical business practices. Despite this unfortunate fact, many old money wealthy families thrive on their family's legacy in society. Many families, such as the Carnegies, Rockefellers, and Vanderbilts, have their names on prestigious institutions. When it comes to old money versus new money, social standing is another point of contention. For people with old money, prestige is about a lot more than how long they've been rich. Instead, old money families have been respected for a long time. Every member of an old money family is powerful, well-respected, and well-educated. On the other hand, families with new money are proud of their often overly exaggerated rags to riches stories. They don't come from a proud and well-known family, which makes it less likely that they will succeed and makes it more impressive when they do. Their success in entertainment and business makes them famous among middle-class and lower-class people, but their old money peers may not respect them as much. In the U.S., wealthy East Coast WASP families and wealthy Southerners are often seen as the old money. while West Coast families that are more diverse in terms of race and culture are seen as the new money. Their spending habits may be different. In the short term, the biggest difference between the old rich and the new rich might be how they spend their money and how that spending changes their lifestyle. The typical family with old money is more thrifty than a family with new money. This is because people with old money habits have a different view of their wealth. Most people with old money see their money as family money that needs to be grown, kept, and passed on. Even though they don't shy away from a lavish lifestyle, it tends to be less flashy, more private, and better planned out. This is because they want to pass on as much wealth as possible to the next generation. On the other hand, families and individuals with new money tend to have very different spending habits. Since most nouveau riches have made most of their money on their own, they see it as theirs alone and something to show off. That doesn't mean they spend all of their money on their own, but they prefer to make decisions about their money on their own rather than by committee with their family. Yes, this often means spending more money on things like flashy cars, luxury yachts, and big mansions. Their leisure activities differentiate. Golf, skiing, horseback riding, and polo are all stereotyped as pastimes of old money. On the other hand, those who have just come into wealth may treat themselves to courtside seats to a basketball game, a garage full of brand new luxury automobiles, or a shopping spree down on Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills. The public perception of them isn't the same. We're making generalizations, but members of the old money group often think of themselves as more sophisticated and well-educated than the newly rich. Members of the new money group, on the other hand, may be perceived as more inventive and hardworking, exemplifying the American dream. What can we learn from the old money and the new money? Even if you are not rich, thinking about the difference can teach you some important lessons about life and money. Lesson 1. It's hard to maintain generational wealth in the family. People who were not born into wealthy families tend to look down on old money. The term trust fund babies comes to mind. People look down on wealthy families because they think their members have never done an honest day's work in their lives. But that isn't always the case. There is no doubt that people with old money have a lot of advantages. Statistically speaking, 70% of wealthy families lose most of their wealth by the second generation, and 90% lose all of it by the third generation. Families with a lot of money do work hard to keep and grow their wealth for their children and grandchildren. They are able to keep their money from going down. When you give your money to your children and grandchildren, they are much more likely to be careless with it. Along with bad financial planning, neglecting family relationships is another way to lose money that a family has worked hard to earn. People with new money are more likely to lose it because their families haven't been teaching them how to handle the money of a large estate for generations. Think about how many famous people and athletes you've seen waste their newfound wealth because they don't have the wisdom or experience of old money. On the other hand, families that have been rich for many generations have learned how to avoid these common mistakes, which is why they are still wealthy after so many years. Even if you don't want to put your family name on as many institutions as some old money families have, it's still a good idea to follow their advice on how to keep your money. Lesson 2. It's important to look at how much you spend. Many people who get rich quickly don't do enough to protect their money and put it to good use. Horror stories about lottery winners losing everything should be enough to remind us that if we suddenly get a lot of money, we should take the time to talk to a financial expert about how we want to manage it. If you do this, you might make sure that your money grows instead of running out. Lesson 3. Stereotypes don't tell the whole story. When thinking about the differences between old money and new money, it's important to remember that these are just generalizations, and not everyone fits them. Just like we hope that people won't judge us before they get to know us, talking about old money versus new money is a good way to remember not to make assumptions about people until you get to know them. Lastly, in the world we live in now, new money skills might be more useful for getting rich, but old money habits are what you need to keep your wealth and pass it on to the next generation. Thank you for watching another video by Lugnado. Let's start a discussion in the comments section. Are you planning to grow generational wealth? Or are you already from a wealthy family? Leave us comments below, subscribe, like the video, and click the bell button to stay updated on our newest videos. See you guys later.